Hello guys and welcome back to SWTOR Central, and in this video we're going to be doing a breakdown of the Betrayed trailer which we received for Knights of the Eternal Throne. So sit back, relax, because this is about to get awesome. Alrighty then folks, we all know what happened in the ending of Knights of the Fallen Empire, so we do not need to go through what happened. Okay, so the trailer that we got is in fact some background story between Vaylin and Senya. Yes guys, it's Vaylin. I will eat my words here because I thought that it was something completely different. But you know what? I'm gonna just stand by my theory for a second here and just say that what I said was a lot more cooler than what happened in the trailer. However, the trailer was pretty freaking sweet, so yeah. So the trailer did pretty much confirm that the person that we saw is not a descendant of Isaac's like I thought, but it is in fact Vaylin. Now the entire trailer is just a background story of Vaylin. It starts off as Vaylin being a young girl and just beginning to discover the power that she holds. However, what's interesting is that we actually see the connection between Senya and Vaylin. The mother and daughter combination were clearly very close, with it also being obvious that Senya cared very deeply about Vaylin. So as it would appear, Valkorion actually favoured his attention to his twin sons, Arkan and Vexen. But when Vaylin finally got her chance in the dueling ring to show off what she can do, she more than impressed Valkorion. With hand-to-hand combat and lightsaber skills, Vaylin is definitely in a league of her own when it comes to calling on the Force. If you like, you could even call Vaylin a prodigy. She clearly wields immense power. No doubt this is because the blood of Valkorion runs deeply through her. But with immense power also comes consequences. Vaylin needed to be taught obedience with her force power. This is why we see Valkorion take her away. He clearly sees the potential that she has, and he needs to safeguard her future. After all, Valkorion is going to need a successor for his eternal throne. Senya is clearly not too happy with the fact of Vaylin having to leave, but we all know that Valkorion ran the show back here, so Vaylin was taken, with ultimately nothing that Senya could do about it. Now I can't tell you exactly what is happening to Vaylin. However, the likely thing that is happening here is that she's being trained the same way that these Nathema Zealots were trained. You see, these Nathema Zealots that we see actually have the same tattoos that Vaylin eventually gains herself. So while Vaylin is locked away in this chamber, she has patience and obedience beaten into her. However, this clearly has had an effect on her. Considering the bond that she had with her mother, she feels betrayed and she feels abandoned because her mother Senya did not do anything to bring her back. Vaylin really believes that her mother just left her there, which does look like it is the case, although I'm pretty sure we can all agree that Senya really didn't want her to be there. Really, just the look on her face as Vaylin was being walked into the chamber says it all. So we do eventually see Senya have a form of vision, witnessing the pain that Vaylin is going through, or feeling her pain. Again, this is probably because they had a very strong connection to each other. After all, they are mother and daughter. So Senya clearly had enough and she decided to go and rescue her daughter. However, when it got to the point of actually leaving with her, she kind of just stood there and didn't really want to go with her. I think that whatever happened in that chamber, Vaylin had lost all hope with her mother. Let's not forget that Valkorion is the master of manipulation. So Vaylin refuses to go with Senya because she felt abandoned. At this point, Senya is obviously taken away and life goes on, and such does the events that happened within Knights of the Fallen Empire. Okay, so in the next scene of the trailer, we see Senya surrounded by corpses. She's looking around and then she eventually sees who appears to be Vaylin in the distance. They both engage in combat, and as Senya sees Vaylin's face, she has a sudden look of shock. Now, for this look of shock that we see, I have two explanations. The first one would be that in the end of Knights of the Fallen Empire, Senya would have believed Vaylin to be dead, simply because she left the ship and escaped with Arkan while Vaylin was still there and the ship exploded. So logic would suggest that Senya would believe that Vaylin is dead. So if she was then to see Vaylin later on, she would obviously be quite shocked to see her alive. Now I can get down with that, but I kind of also believe that because Vaylin is currently sitting on the throne, there is no way in hell that her presence wouldn't be known throughout the galaxy. Somebody did mention to me that this could be because Scorpio is running the show. However, I just don't think that that would be the case, and I would definitely imagine that Vaylin would make her presence known throughout the galaxy, which means that Senya would have eventually discovered that she is still alive. And then leading up to the events in the trailer where she has that look of shock on her face would be when she actually sees Vaylin's face, because if we look at Vaylin's face here, we can see quite a few changes. Now let's just quickly do a comparison actually to Vaylin in Knights of the Fallen Empire and Valen from this trailer here, who will be the Valen in Knights of the Eternal Throne. We can clearly see some very distinct differences. I actually had trouble believing that this even was Valen. However, the entire trailer was about Valen, so it would make no sense to bring a completely new and fresh character in at the ending, would it? So I know it's just me being weird, but honestly I did have a hard time believing that that was Valen. This is just simply because a lot of the facial features appear to have changed or formed. Okay, so the things we need to pay attention to on Valen's face is going to be the age, because she definitely looks like she's aged a couple of years. In fact, we can also see dark side corruption, this being her eyes and some of the corrupted look across her face. As compared to the previous picture of Valen, the new current picture of Valen has much darker orange eyes. This may be a little bit irrelevant, but I mean, in Knights of the Fallen Empire, she was really slender, quite thin. Her complexion was really quite narrow. However, in the current Valen, she seems to be just a little bit more rounded in the face, especially with her nose. I mean, I guess you could say that this is just because she's pulling an expression on her face, or maybe it's just because of the cinematic having really good looking visuals. But the truth is undeniable, and this is 100% Valen. But something has definitely happened to Valen. In fact, here is what I think is going down in this scene. This scene isn't actually real. I believe that this is a vision. I don't actually think that this confrontation we've seen in the trailer will have happened in game. I think it was purely done just for the sake of getting everybody hyped for the new expansion and showing off Valen's new power. Now notice how I say new power, because really what I should be saying is old power. Now I somewhat believe that when Valen was in this chamber having a ritual performed on her, that a lot of her power was limited. I believe that now she is sitting on the Eternal Throne, she is going to reclaim the power that she once had. She is going to go to the place where she once was as a child and just reclaim all that power that was taken from her. I also have another scenario for this. It is also very possible that Valkorion could be controlling Valen. It's possible he could have possessed her, or he could have just tainted her mind big time, which could explain all the corruption that we see on Valen, because without a doubt, the Valen that we see at the end of this trailer is a Valen that has been reborn. I just hope for the love of God she's just not that whiny little princess. Now just backtracking a little bit, because I'm sure a few people are going to be very curious of where Valen was taken when she was a child, especially just the location. Honestly guys, I think it's just going to be a really simple answer. I think it's just going to be somewhere on Zakul, clearly just a very sacred place on Zakul. I know some people were speculating that it's Nefima, but I can assure you that this is not Nefima. I don't really need to justify why it isn't Nefima, but if you really want it, we can clearly see that there is a ritual being performed, and there is also floating orbs around Valen, pretty much just some creepy stuff going on, all of which would not be possible on Nefima simply because Valkorion drained Nefima of everything: the Force, life, everything. This means that a Force user cannot use the Force while on Nefima. It's also been said before now that Darth Revan found it very difficult to call on the Force when he was just close to Nefima. He wasn't even on the surface of the planet, as far as I know anyways. If anybody knows exactly what happened there, then please just feel free to correct me down below. However, the point is, this Force ritual that is clearly taking place is not possible on Nefima. Okay guys, this was my breakdown of the trailer. I'm sorry it wasn't that great, but let's be honest here, the trailer really just focuses on Valen's background story, so there isn't really that much else to talk about. Okay folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you smash that like button if you did, and make sure you subscribe if you're not already. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.